There's a clear double standard between the left and the right. Behavior that you only see on the left and not the right. If you need further proof that there's a double standard, that the left has brainwashed society, look no further than Florida. The fraud going on in Florida as an acceptable solution to our election process is the last straw. How, after 4 days, are the same two counties that we've repeatedly had trouble with in the past still able to say their election is not final? How is that possible? How is that okay? As I speak to you, Florida's Secretary of State has officially declared a recount for governor and United States Senator in Florida. On election night, though, both Republicans were declared the winners over their Democrat opponents. Republican Rick Scott was declared the winner over Democrat Bill Nelson for Florida's U.S. Senate seat. Republican Congressman Ron DeSantis was declared winner against Democrat Andrew Gillum, a local mayor. But tonight, everything is in flux. Democrat Gillum, the loser candidate who conceded on election night, has just today officially pulled back his concession to Republican Ron DeSantis. So what's going on? The Democrats are refusing to accept the declared results of the national media. Theirs is a double standard. You say we lost, we'll say we won. And in the words of DNC lawyer Mark Elias, an operative from Clinton Fusion GPS, Christopher Steele fraudulent dossier intended also to disenfranchise us on a national presidential election, we'll do a recount and we will win. So how do they do this? Lo and behold, they find missing ballots. And where do they find these ballots? In deep blue counties run by Democrats in Florida, Broward and Palm Beach. Now, Broward and Palm Beach counties may sound familiar to you because in 2000 there was a hand recount in Palm Beach County because the Democrats didn't want to accept the results of a presidential election. In 2006, there was another recount started by the Democrats. In 2016, another recount. And in 2018, another recount in the same two counties. Now, folks, there are 3,141 counties and county equivalents in the United States. So you tell me how 3,139 counties can get their votes in 30 minutes after the polls close, but not these two. The other counties get it right. There's even a county that suffered a Category 4 hurricane in Florida that was able to turn in their ballots 30 minutes after the election. But these same two deep blue Democrat-controlled counties in Florida, where Republicans won in the two most important races, can't get their act together. But it's not the first time. There's one person who seems to be at the center of this, a Ms. Brenda Snipes, the election supervisor in Broward County, shown here. Now, you may know about Brenda because in 2016, a judge called her out for destroying ballots that benefited her friend, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. So election night, Broward reports thousands of votes, 634,000, and now there are reportedly thousands more votes. You're kidding, right? A primer. Every county is supposed to hand in all early voting and absentee ballots within 30 minutes of the polls closing. Most counties already count those ballots before election night. But now in a lawsuit brought against Ms. Snipes, Governor Scott argues that Snipes is refusing to comply with a campaign request for voter and ballot information. At an emergency hearing yesterday in Florida, the governor asked the court to have Ms. Snipes turn over records detailing how she counts and collects ballots. Snipes, as might be expected, is refusing to turn over the records, saying it's inappropriate for a court to intervene this time simply because Scott wants the counting process sped up. What is even more outrageous is that after Snipes destroyed ballots illegally in the 2016 election, her premature destruction of the ballots under court review in a pending lawsuit was described as unlawful and in violation of the Public Records Act. That court in 2016 cited a similar case where the individual was dismissed, saying dismissal under these circumstances is an appropriate sanction. But the court went even beyond saying that about Snipes. They said her violation was twofold. Number one, Snipes violated state and federal retention requirements. And number two, Snipes violated the affirmative responsibility to preserve evidence. Why was this woman not fired? Yet today, Ms. Snipes lives on to mess up yet another or overturn yet another election in Florida. And if that's not enough to infuriate you, after the court's decision about Ms. Snipes, the state of Florida announced it would be monitoring Broward's 2018 election. Now, let me tell you what a mess we're in. There are reportedly thousands of newfound ballots. Each one is 5 pages long. Do you think a woman who doesn't tally or canvass along the way, who loses thousands of ballots, who doesn't want to turn them in 30 minutes after the polls are closed, like 3,139 other counties do, should be trusted? Do you think she should be allowed to view 5 times, because that's how long the ballots are, 5 pages of thousands and thousands of missing ballots? Folks, this is lunacy. Voter fraud is insidious. It causes people to think their vote doesn't matter. But it's worse than that, folks. There are reportedly transcripts now that prove that when the Democrats say they want every vote counted, they mean it. Yes, that's what I said. But it's not just your votes. It's illegals' votes that some lawyers in these canvassing hearings for Democrats want counted. A report out today says lawyers for Democrats Gillum and Nelson are objecting to the rejection of votes cast by non-citizens. So when the lawyer for the Democrats, Mark Elias, famous for his role in the dossier creation that was an attempt to disenfranchise our duly elected president, says he's going down to Florida to win, he should have added, by any means. And that's my open. If you love my opening statements, you love my new book, New York Times #1 bestseller, Liars, Leakers, and Liberals, The Case Against the Anti-Trump Conspiracy.